Hey everybody, Brian from Birbal Traders here. It is the weekend, September 14th, and this, of course, is the weekend video. We'll take a quick look at what happened last week. It was a big bounce back week, of course, for the markets, which was what I was anticipating if you caught my previous weekend's video. And of course, we'll take a look ahead and see what we got coming up. This is going to be a very big week. As you know, the Fed is going to make their rate cut decision. Is it 25? Is it 50? The markets are really hanging on edge here, and odds are pretty much even as to whether they're going to go big or just keep her the regular size. So anyway, let's get down to it and see what we got coming up this week. Okay, so we'll start out with a quick review of what happened last week, as we always do. So we had a big market rally. We pretty much gained back everything we lost in the previous week, at least for the three indexes, the Dow, Qs, and the SPY. And of course, we had the CPI and PPI data. CPI data came in slightly higher than expected, but then the PPI data, which is kind of maybe what you could argue maybe more forward-looking because it's a wholesale level. PPI data came in a little weaker than expected or lower than expected, so that of course gave a positive sign that we are definitely on track to get a rate cut from the Fed. So the question is, of course, as I already mentioned already, is it going to be a quarter point? Is it going to be a half point? That is the big question. And so there's where your indexes were. You can see those numbers pretty much had negative signs in front of them last week, and now I just have changed them to positives. And IWM not up quite as much, but still a nice gain on all the indexes. And of course, when we get the risk on, we get technology, consumer discretionary. They're the biggest gainers on the week. And energy really just struggling here. And of course, energy will struggle if the economy is slowing down, lower demand for energy products. So that's why energy seems to still be struggling as we go through the year here. And of course, treasury yields all dropped on the 2-year. You can see now we're under 3.6 or 3.6. And the 10-year, again, above the 3.59, so a normalized yield curve, as I've talked about in previous videos. Dollar, pretty much unchanged for the week. Wasn't a big change in the yield, so moving around with the yen and the euro. So, and Bitcoin actually was up on the week. Last week it was 54,000. This last I checked, it was over 60. So really, just trying to hold this 54,000. We'll take a look at the chart in a minute. So that was your week in review. And before we move forward, as always, like to do a quick plug for my efforts here. These are my books on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, very popular book, and Profiting as an Active Trader, a little bit more intensive look at how to swing trade. And then, of course, my latest book, How to Trade Options, both as far as day trading and swing trading or even position trading. So all those books there, if you want to check them out, they're on Amazon in all the different formats, audio, electronic, or hard copy. All right, so let's get down and start looking at some indexes here. And I always like to start with the treasuries. And this is a TLT. This is the long-term treasury. You can see here we've really been trailing off, testing this prior low. And I'm loving this because I'm pretty heavily invested in bonds right now. So as the yields drop, which is what this is showing, bond prices rise, and my portfolio of bonds has been doing really well. So it's a good thing. And again, reflecting the coming Fed rate cut decision. So we'll see how much of a cut we get. The dollar, again, kind of trading a bit in a range here. There's your range, and no change on the week. So again, kind of waiting for this rate cut decision. The Qs have really, you can see here, this is a 1-month basis. Let's take a look at the daily. So you can see here we've got a trend line if we connected those highs, and we're right back at pretty close to this trend line, which is where I projected we would be. I remember I talked about it in my last week's video. So this is kind of a do or die area for the for the Qs. And we maybe push up a little bit higher next week coming into this Fed rate decision. But let's see what happened after we get the actual decision. If it starts to roll over again, I'd be looking at this candle here. This is a big candle we got on Wednesday, and where the market just really lit up. But I don't think these are really heavily convicted buyers. And if we start to roll over again, I think we could retest this low and maybe even go lower. But this is the index that probably will sell off the most because it's really struggled. The Qs have really struggled to get back to their highs. And if we compare that to the SPY, you can see here, here's your high, here's another almost double top. And then we are right back at this high. So nothing like the Q chart where we've struggled to get above this ascending trend line here. So SPY looking pretty good here, looking to again testing those highs on the SPY, and same pretty much with the Dow. We'll wait for this to load here. Here we go. Again, right back up near the high, this high here. And again, probably the more solid index. If we do get a sell-off, it may not be as severe. Or we could, if we get that reaction that's positive from the bull's perspective, it could mean that we could push even higher into new highs. And if we look at IWM, again, this is an index that's been struggling like the Qs. Again, you can draw this trend line here. It's come up to this trend line. So again, IWM and the Qs, if there is a rollover in the market, this is maybe where you want to look at shorting, and you can do that with ETFs. TZA is one you could short IWM with. But if we get a positive reaction, TNA. So lots of options there, just either with the indexes, options, or ETFs. And Bitcoin, you can see here we just seem to be chopping in a range here, and it certainly trades just basically as a risk asset. It's almost trading like the Qs. But what's concerning me, and if I was holding Bitcoin and I'm not, kind of a double top here, a lower high here, a lower high here, and we'll see what happens here. If this is another lower high, but sort of a lower low from here, and then even a lower low on here. So I guess, easy to make an argument that Bitcoin is in a downtrend. So let's keep an eye on this. This 54,000 level seems to be fairly important. And that's it for the indexes for the markets. Okay, so let's start out and look at some current positions. Some of these positions I put on last week based on my watch list from last week. So if you caught some of those, but here's one I'm really just swinging from the fences on here, as they say. This is a very low float. It's got to do with cancer treatment, and it's trading along with Summit, which has had a big run up, and this is. One stock that I bought on Friday, got a nice little pop on it, but I just held on to a very small position over the week. I'm just holding it over the weekend to see where it goes. But again, very low float on this, I believe. So again, kind of a bit of a Hail Mary, if you want to call it that, with a very small position. SPXL, as I mentioned last week, this was something I was watching. I was looking for a bit of a pullback, or at least a bounce back. And of course, we got that nice bounce back. And there was it almost felt like panic buying here, going into some of these closes on Wednesday and Thursday. And of course, we got a nice continuation on Friday. So holding a little bit of SPXL. This is an ETF, and we'll see what happens. I may decide not to hold this much past Monday or Tuesday, and take it off for the rate decision, because I'm expecting a lot of volatility. AMark, this was another one I was watching from last week, and you can see here was looking for a bit of a pullback after this breakout, and did get that pullback, and then it just went back up higher here. So Holding this position again. It's a small position, but nice move on that. Still holding some CMG. I'm kind of feeling like it's going to break out here to the upside, making some nice bit of a double bottom here, higher low, and we need to break through this sort of 56, 60, 57 level, and then we could head our way back up to 60s is kind of where I'm looking. Take some profits on that. And PLTR, still holding on to this one, had a nice run up during the week, and still holding on to that position as well. So there's some of the swing trades I'm in right now. So as far as some stocks that I'm looking at or for potential for next week, I like the price action on Oracle. It really gapped up strong. It had a strong gap up after its earnings, really continued to push higher here, and had a huge gap up 175 and completely sold off to fill that gap on Friday. Kind of looks interesting to me, this 175. Certainly an established top for the time being, and I think your support probably in and around one of these moving averages here. So possibility to trade this with options, but again, a lot of profit taking up in this area, but it looks like Oracle is going to stay strong here. Another one that I was kind of looking at here because it was looking like a bit of a double bottom, and this is LRCX, and it's again put in a bit of a double bottom here. I like the way the stochastics are turning up. There isn't a lot of resistance, not a lot of buyers stuck until we get way up here. So I think it has the opportunity to move up. It is a very expensive stock, so again, maybe a better way to play it with options to keep the cost down. UVXY, again, I'll be looking to possibly trade this if we do get a lot of volatility after the Fed announcement. So that's kind of for the later in the week. And Netflix had a really good day on Friday, popped up here, almost got to 700, and still looking like it's threatening to break out here. So keeping an eye on that one. But again, I'm going to be a little bit reticent to take some additional positions until we get through Wednesday and Wednesday afternoon, and we'll kind of see what the reaction to whatever cut we end up getting be. So we'll keep some powder dry until we get that decision. All right, so let's wrap things up here, and let's start out by taking a look at the target rate probabilities. This is the Fed futures, based on Fed futures. And you can see here, it's a draw, 50-50, half point cut, quarter point cut. So we are definitely going to get a cut. Just depends on how much we are going to get. So it's going to be very interesting to see the market reaction. Will a 50-point cut be a bad thing? Or will it be a good thing? If we only get 25, will it be a disappointment to the markets? It's really going to be an interesting Wednesday afternoon when this news comes out. So just thought I'd throw this chart up there because it is going to be a big news event. And of course, we will be live on YouTube, BBT. We will be covering that event. So if you want to join us, we will be there. As far as the week ahead coming, let's take a look quickly. We've got the Dow and the Q SPY. Those are all the levels with support and resistance. As far as economic events go, we do have some stuff coming up. Retail sales will be in focus, of course, how the consumer's holding up. And of course, we got the Fed rate hike decision at 2, and then Fed Powell speaking at 2:30 will also be interesting. As far as earnings go, there's a really light calendar here. You can see we do have some interesting ones. General Mills, Darden Restaurants, FedEx will be interesting. Lennar, one of our home builders, and VFS on Friday. But again, very light calendar as far as earnings go. So that's it, everybody. Anyway, hope we have a great rest of the weekend. Join us 8 o'clock in the morning, live on YouTube as well, with our members and trading the market Again, we'll stay live on YouTube for that as well after we go through the pre-market show. So hope to see you joining us there. That's it, everyone. Take care, and we'll hopefully see you Monday morning. Bye for now.